mess hall freezes as coffee splatters across dusty combat boots. Well, if it isn't our diversity hire, Colonel Bradley Thompson sneers, blocking Maya Rivers' path. Brown liquid drips onto concrete as the blonde sergeant bends to clean it, weathered hands steady despite trembling. Still playing soldier? Maybe you should have stayed on the reservation. Laughter ripples through his warriors, then General Marcus Stone enters, his gaze locking onto Maya's collar emblem. His face pales. My God, the ghost of Kandahar. Have you ever been judged unfairly for your appearance? Tell us where you're watching from. Forward Operating Base Titan operates under siege mentality, where daily rocket attacks and IED threats transform soldiers into warriors or washouts. Maya Rivers appears to be the latter, a 30-something Native American woman with incongruous blonde hair wearing the oldest uniform on base. New transfers learn quickly that she's relegated to supply duty, a has-been who couldn't cut it in combat roles. She eats alone, speaks only when spoken to, and constantly scans exits like a paranoid rookie. The assumption makes sense in a world where strength equals volume and warriors announce themselves with swagger. Maya announces nothing, claims nothing, demands nothing, from a base that offers her even less. Her mind drifts as she inventories supplies, hands moving automatically while thoughts travel to another desert, another time. They see weakness where I've learned to show nothing. Good. Let them underestimate. Sergeant Rodriguez used to say the best weapon is the one your enemy never sees coming. God, I miss him. Miss the way he'd hum his daughter's lullaby before every mission, said it kept him human when the job demanded we become monsters. He died humming it, bleeding out in my arms after pushing me from that rooftop in Kandahar. Take care of my girls, he whispered. I send his family money every month. Anonymous deposits they think come from a government program. They'll never know their father died saving someone, who now scrubs toilets for men who aren't worth his bootlaces. Colonel Bradley Thompson rules his sector through carefully cultivated fear and favoritism. Each morning begins with his inspection of the real soldiers under his command, young men who mirror his disdain for what he calls PC military policies. His desk displays a shrine to traditional warfare, challenge coins, combat photos, and center stage a picture of his son in dress blues. 20-year-old Jason Thompson died in Fallujah 8 years ago, his father's grief calcifying into rage against anyone he deems unworthy of the uniform his boy died wearing. Women, minorities, anyone who doesn't fit his narrow definition of warrior, they all become targets for the pain he can't otherwise express. This morning, Maya Rivers tops his list. Rivers, I'm reassigning you to latrine duty, Thompson announces during morning briefing, his voice carrying across the command center. Maybe scrubbing toilets will remind you where you belong. His elite team chuckles on cue, a Greek chorus of masculine approval. Maya's personnel file sits locked in base records, unread beyond her current assignment. The first page bears heavy redactions and a single visible phrase that Thompson never bothered to investigate. SOCOM Tier 1. Classified. She adjusts her collar unconsciously, the worn emblem catching light for just a moment before disappearing again beneath standard issue fabric. 3 days pass in escalating harassment. Thompson accidentally knocks Maya's meal tray, sending food across her uniform. He assigns her to burn pit duty during the hottest part of the day, where toxic smoke mixes with 115-degree heat. 4 consecutive night watches leave her hollow-eyed but still standing, still silent. Real soldiers don't complain, he reminds her publicly, savoring each word like candy. Other soldiers begin following his lead, emboldened by command-sanctioned cruelty. Someone leaves a toy tomahawk on her bunk with a note, "For the wannabe warrior." Maya photographs it quietly, adding to a growing digital file that auto-uploads to encrypted cloud storage. In the women's latrine she's been assigned to clean, Maya's reflection stares back from grimy mirror. Her hands work mechanically, scrubbing toilets while her mind drifts to mountains half a world away. 3 purple hearts, 2 silver stars. 72 confirmed kills that haunt her dreams less than the ones she couldn't make. The Marines she couldn't save. The ambassador who lived because she threw herself between him and shrapnel. Here she kneels cleaning waste, because a man who's never seen real combat believes chromosomes determine worth. The mountains of Kandahar taught her patience. The dead taught her humility. Soon enough, Thompson will learn what they learned. Assumptions kill more soldiers than bullets ever could. She returns to scrubbing, each motion precise and meditative, the same focus that once steadied her rifle scope through impossible winds. During tactical briefing, base intelligence suggests imminent attack patterns. Maya raises her hand, voice cutting through testosterone-fueled planning. Sir, the eastern perimeter shows signs of systematic reconnaissance. 3 nights running, same pattern. Thompson's fist slams the table. Did I ask for input from supply personnel? Know your place, Rivers. She lowers her hand but continues making notes, her trained eye catching what others miss in satellite imagery. That night she sends encrypted files to an unnamed recipient. Subject line, pattern recognition. Urgent. Her notebook contains details that would terrify Thompson if he could read them. Tactical sketches, Arabic translations, predictive analysis that comes from years behind enemy lines. Rodriguez would have seen it too, she thinks, studying the patterns. He had a gift for reading terrain like scripture, finding enemy intent in tire tracks and footprints. Maya, mija, he'd say, in that Texas drawl that never left despite 20 years in uniform. The earth tells stories if you know how to listen. I'm listening now, brother. Listening to the desert sing warnings these fools refuse to hear. Your daughter just started high school. Sent me her report card last week. Straight A's, like her papa. She doesn't know I exist, but I watch over her like you watched over me. It's what we do, what you taught me. Protect and serve, even when they spit on our service. Pressure mounts as intelligence confirms Maya's assessment. Thompson dismisses eastern vulnerabilities, positioning his elite team along western approaches where traditional attacks originate. The east falls to support staff, including Maya. Private Jackson, Thompson's newest warrior, clutches the rabbit's foot his girlfriend gave him, hands trembling as he takes his safe western position. He's 19, eager to prove himself to the colonel, who promises to make him a real soldier. The irony that real soldiers already protect him remains lost in his nervous excitement. You scared, Jackson? Thompson asks, checking his position. The private straightens, forcing bravado into his voice. No, sir. Ready to show these terrorists what American warriors can do. Thompson claps his shoulder approvingly, neither man noticing Maya's tactical assessment report crumpled in the command center trash, her warnings dismissed as female paranoia. 0300 hours. Brings shadows moving through darkness. Maya's trained eyes catch what others miss. 6 figures approaching through terrain that should be impassable. She keys her radio with practiced calm. Possible breach. Eastern sector, grid 729. Thompson's voice crackles back immediately, irritation evident. Rivers, stop jumping at shadows, maintain position and radio silence. Through her scope, she watches the figures advance with military precision, weapons visible, intent clear. Her finger hovers over the trigger, muscle memory from countless operations, begging for release. But she's just supply now, stripped of authority to act. 6 unknowns, armed, 300 meters and closing. She tries again, urgency creeping into her professional tone. Thompson's response burns through static. I said maintain radio silence. One more word and you're court-martialed. Maya sets down the standard radio and produces a satellite phone from her kit, hardware that supply clerks definitely don't carry. Her voice drops to whisper, words precise. Authentication, Ghost 7-7, we have a situation. The response comes instantly, no questions asked, just confirmation that assets are moving. General Marcus Stone's helicopter touches down 17 minutes later, rotor wash scattering dust across the tarmac. He storms into the command center where Thompson rails against panicky female soldiers to his assembled team. Colonel Thompson! Stone's voice could freeze hellfire itself. Why did I receive a critic-level threat assessment from this base through SOCOM channels instead of your chain of command? Thompson stammers, color draining from his face as he recognizes the 3-star general who shouldn't be anywhere near this sector. Sir, I wasn't aware. Thompson begins, but Stone cuts him off with a gesture that promises violence. Of course you weren't. You were too busy harassing one of my operators to notice your base was being surveilled for attack. The word operators hangs in the air like a grenade pin pulled. Stone's eyes scan the room until they find their target. Where is Sergeant Rivers? Thompson's confusion deepens. She's on Eastern watch, sir. But she's just supply. Just supply? Stone produces a photograph from his jacket, the same emblem from Maya's collar enlarged and enhanced. Colonel, do you know what this insignia represents? 12 operators in our nation's history have earned the Shadow Reconnaissance Badge. Sergeant Rivers, Major Rivers, her promotion came through last month, earned hers in Kandahar province. 96 hours behind enemy lines, no support, calling in surgical strikes that saved 300 Marines from ambush. The room's silence becomes suffocating as Stone continues his revelation. What would you have done in her shoes? Drop a comment below. She's not Supply, Thompson. She's SOCOM's most decorated female operator on light duty after taking shrapnel meant for Ambassador Harrison. She requested quiet assignment to heal, to process losing half her team in an operation that saved thousands. Instead of peace, she found you. Alarms shriek suddenly, cutting through the revelation. Eastern perimeter breach, exactly where Maya warned, exactly where Thompson left minimal defense. His elite Western team scrambles to respond, out of position and unprepared. Stone keys his radio with practiced efficiency. Go 7-7, you are authorized for tactical response, weapons free. Maya's voice returns, calm as morning prayer. Copy, command, engaging. Security monitors flicker to life across the command center, multiple angles capturing transformation in real time. The supply clerk, who couldn't carry a meal tray steady, now moves with lethal purpose, her faded uniform becoming camouflage for death itself. Red emergency lights strobe across the eastern sector, casting dancing shadows that Maya uses like cover. The first rocket impacts 50 meters from her position, illuminating her silhouette against billowing smoke. She doesn't flinch, already moving to intercept. Through thermal imaging, she appears as a white-hot specter, flowing between defensive positions, no wasted movement, no theatrical flourishes. Her rifle speaks in controlled pairs, mathematical precision replacing Hollywood spray and pray. The attackers' confusion shows in their movements. They expected sleeping sentries, not a ghost who knows their playbook better than they do. She uses hand signals to coordinate base defenders, soldiers who suddenly remember their training when led by someone who breathes competence. A mortar explosion backlights her next engagement, debris raining like deadly confetti while she maintains sight picture. One attacker falls to a knife thrown from darkness, silent, necessary. Another discovers too late that the supply clerk anticipated his flanking maneuver, finding her already positioned in his escape route. Through smoke and chaos, Maya's voice cuts clear on radio. Contact left, 50 meters. Thompson's team, northern adjustment now. Medical, standby for casualties. The final attacker raises hands in surrender, weapon dropping. Maya materializes from shadow, zip ties ready, movements economical. She checks his wounds with the same steady hands that cleaned coffee from concrete. Professional rather than vindictive. Within 12 minutes, the base returns to desert silence, broken only by ringing ears and rapid breathing. Maya emerges from tactical concealment, weapons safed, moving between defenders with quiet efficiency. She checks each position, offers water, adjusts tourniquets, a mother hen whose chicks just survived the fox. But the real shock comes when she reaches Private Jackson's position. The 19-year-old sits frozen, rifle unfired, rabbit's foot clutched in white knuckles. I couldn't shoot, he whispers, tears cutting through dust on his face. They look like kids, like my brother. Maya kneels beside him, her voice gentle but firm. First combat freezes everyone, Jackson. What matters is what you do next time. She doesn't mention that his safe, Western position saw no action, that Thompson's favoritism inadvertently saved him from testing he wasn't ready for. Thompson finds his voice as Maya reports to General Stone, her bearing military perfect despite cordite streaking her face like war paint. Sir, I didn't know. Her file said supply. Stone's hand cuts through excuses like Maya's knife through darkness. Because that's what she requested. Heroes don't advertise, Colonel. They serve. The general turns to assembled soldiers, ensuring his words carry weight. Major Rivers has more combat decorations than this entire base combined. She chose anonymity to heal. You chose to torment her. And Stone drops the second bombshell. Oh, and Thompson? That supply clerk you've been harassing? She's been evaluating this base for Special Operations Command. Every insult, every discriminatory action, every tactical failure, all documented for my review. You didn't just fail as a leader. You failed a test you didn't know you were taking. The revelation hits harder than enemy rockets. The realization that Maya's presence was never coincidence but calculation, that the hunted was always the hunter. Private Jackson stands frozen among Thompson's elite, his rabbit's foot forgotten in a pocket now heavy with shame. The realization hits harder than any physical blow. He mocked someone who just saved his life, dismissed a warrior whose skills he couldn't dream of matching. His 19-year-old bravado crumbles, replaced by understanding that real strength doesn't announce itself with volume. Maya finally addresses Thompson directly. her voice carrying no triumph, only truth. You assigned me to observe the eastern perimeter. I observed. You told me to know my place. I do. It's wherever my country needs me. She produces her phone, screen displaying months of documentation. Every breach of military conduct, every racial slur, every deliberate endangerment of personnel. All recorded, all reported through proper channels. Stone takes the device, scrolling through evidence that ends careers and begins court-martials. Colonel Thompson, you're relieved of command, pending investigation, Stone announces. Report to my office. Now. As Thompson turns to leave, shoulders bent with more than shame, Maya adds quietly, that perimeter weakness? I identified it my first day here. You were too busy calling me Pocahontas to listen. The words land softer than bullets but strike deeper, truth being the sharpest weapon in any arsenal. Hours pass. Dawn breaks across forward operating base Titan, with Thompson packing his office under guard. His elite team avoids eye contact, suddenly remembering urgent duties elsewhere. The desk photo of his son goes into a box first, handled with trembling hands that finally understand the uniform's weight. Maya enters without knocking, rank having its privileges. Carrying 2 cups of coffee, she sets one on his desk, the gesture deliberately mirroring their first encounter. I don't deserve this, Thompson mutters, unable to meet her eyes. Maya settles into the chair across from him, movements deliberate and calm. Expectations are why we're here. You expected weakness because I'm female, native, and quiet. I expected humanity and found harassment. Maybe we both need better expectations. The words hang between them, bridge across a chasm of misunderstanding. She places a book on his desk, Leadership Without Prejudice by General Stone himself. Inside, her handwriting flows neat and precise. Second chances are earned through growth, not given. Maya, M.R. Thompson's hands shake as he opens it, seeing himself reflected in every chapter title. Why show mercy, he asks, voice breaking like a young recruit. Maya's answer comes swift and sure. Because warriors fight enemies, not each other. You forgot that in your grief. Don't forget again. Your son, Maya continues, surprising them both. He died a hero in Fallujah. I read his citation. He'd be ashamed of what grief has made you, but proud if you find your way back to the honor he died defending. Thompson's composure finally breaks, tears falling onto the book's cover. For the first time in 8 years, he mourns not just his son, but the man that loss transformed him into. Has this story changed how you see others? Share your thoughts. 6 months later, transformation marks every corner of forward operating base Titan. The Rivers Doctrine governs operations. Competence over appearance, merit over prejudice, results over rhetoric. Thompson serves under a female commander now, teaching sensitivity training with the fervor of the converted. His son's photo still sits on his desk, but now it's joined by others, soldiers of every background who've taught him that honor wears many faces. Private Jackson leads diversity workshops, his rabbit's foot retired in favor of genuine confidence. Maya continues her quiet service, identity known but respected by those who understand that true warriors rarely announce themselves. New soldiers arrive weekly, hearing whispers of the ghost who turned harassment into heroism. The mess hall where coffee once spelled humiliation now bears a simple plaque. Strength isn't always visible. Respect is always required. She takes her meals there still, no longer alone but choosing solitude when needed, surrounded by soldiers who've learned to see beyond surface assumptions. General Stone visits monthly, each inspection finding Maya wherever duty calls. Supply room, training ground, or eastern perimeter where she still stands watch. Her emblem, once hidden beneath collar and shame, now catches light proudly, not as boast but as reminder that heroes come in unexpected packages, that the loudest voice in any room rarely owns the most powerful presence. She teaches through example rather than words, showing that real strength whispers while insecurity shouts. The story spreads through military networks like wildfire, carrying lessons harder than bullets to swallow. From Fort Bragg to Bagram, soldiers pause to reconsider their assumptions, to look twice at the quiet ones, the different ones, the ones who serve without swagger. Maya's legend grows, not through her actions in combat, but through her grace in persecution, her choice to protect those who persecuted her. In a world that measures worth by volume, she proves that silence can be the deadliest weapon of all. As desert sun sets over forward operating base Titan, Maya Rivers stands watch on the eastern perimeter, her shadow stretching long across sand that remembers blood. Tomorrow brings new transfers, new assumptions, new opportunities to teach that judgment based on appearance is luxury no warrior can afford. She adjusts her collar, emblem catching last light, and remembers the words carved into her soul by mountains and dead friends. True strength needs no announcement, only opportunity to serve. In the distance, a helicopter approaches, carrying fresh recruits who'll learn, one way or another, that heroes rarely look like movies promise, and that the most dangerous person in any room is often the one who's already proven everything and chooses to prove nothing. The ghost of Kandahar smiles, knowing that some lessons can only be taught through living them, and that respect, like trust, is earned in silence and proven in storm.